Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is an interview I did with Leben. It was a complete honor to speak to him. Really enjoyed this interview. He was so gracious with his time, super humble. I hope you guys enjoy this chat as much as I did. So Chris, I guess I get started with the first question. So what was your first experience with like martial arts and how did you become a prize fighter?
Well, I did various martial arts as a kid. I did some wrestling in like second and third grade. I did, the old school karate at the rec center.
Right.
Kind of stuff. But really, the big one was, in middle school, for some reason, I don't know why, all my friends were skateboarders, but I decided I was going to start boxing.
Wow.
So, I would catch the bus across town, Mount Scott Rec Center, where it was, we were low income, so I got to basically go there for free, and I would go there and box every day.
Yeah. So how did your first experience with boxing, like how did you do early on? Did you have a natural like knack for like, striking? I've
always been a little bit of a slugger. They would put me in, at the time.
Yeah.
What was I? I was about 12, 13 years old, and, I was boxing 18, 20-year-olds, doing,
wow.
I guess, doing okay. I think I was 147 pounds. Then when I made the switch to high school, it's kind of a long story, but I ended up getting tripped by a jock in the hallway. Decided that, found out he was on the wrestling team, so I joined the wrestling team late. Coach, after some sweet talking, the coach let me on. And, then I decided I was going to train wrestling year-round.
Yep.
So I wrestled year-round. Finally, when sophomore year came up, I ended up beating him out, the guy that tripped me for his varsity spot.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Wrestling is such a strong base on mixed martial arts also. That's crazy. So you just had a natural knack. Were you like, do you consider yourself physically gifted from young, or did you have to work really hard?
Not at all. I'm extremely clumsy. As professional athletes go, I'm extremely clumsy.
Wow.
As a normal human being, I would say, I'm above average, with coordination. But it was weird because something clicked, for me, sometime between freshman year, I was a 50-50 guy as a freshman. And then my sophomore year, I won 2/3 of my matches for the varsity team. So, what it was that clicked in my brain, something clicked, definitely. I ended up getting most improved on the wrestling team and everything else, but I learned how to learn. I was kind of in a daze a lot as a kid.
Yeah. And
then I found something that I was actually interested in and learned how to focus.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So, so that competitive drive kind of hit you at that point, and you were really into what you were doing, the wrestling and the competitiveness.
Yeah, the competitiveness, definitely, it's what motivated me, and people can say what they want about it, holding that grudge is what made me wrestle for that guy tripping me, and if it wasn't for wrestling, I never would have graduated high school.
Wow. So, that's crazy, yeah.
Take from that what you want. The only reason I ever stayed in high school was because I felt like my wrestling team was my family. And I was connected, we were a very tight team.
Yeah.
And, I could care less about school and grades. My brother had dropped out by the time he was a freshman. Matter of fact, I think I'm the only person from my family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, that's ever graduated high school.
Wow. Yeah, the whole team camaraderie thing is amazing, Chris. I wrestled in high school as well, and I trained mixed martial arts for a while, but I never competed. But definitely there was like that team aspect of it. So Chris, for your first fight, were you with Team Quest when you had your first match, or did you have your first fight before that?
No, I was with Team Quest. You know, funny story. My brother called me, and he says, "Dude, I'm selling cars. I got a job at a new car lot, and fucking Matt Lindland and Randy Couture are kicking the shit out of each other in the garage."
That's crazy.
And I went, "What?" I said, "What? I'll be there right now." Because obviously, you know, followed the UFC even back then. Was a huge fan of Randy.
Right.
I came down, and sure enough, they were there. At that time, Team Quest was an old, rundown auto mechanic shop in the back of a car lot where they had just thrown down a wrestling mat.
Wow.
You know, I met Robert Follis that day. The front desk consisted of a torn up love seat and, you know, and a front desk made out of a sheet of plywood.
Oh my God.
And, you know, I think I was the 12th member ever at Team Quest.
That's amazing. That's crazy. So Chris, besides fighting and your fighting career, was there any other thing you wanted to be growing up, just out of curiosity? Any like crazy dreams that the fans would get a kick out of?
Nothing.
Ah, okay.
Nothing.
Fair enough.
You know,
fair enough.
All my eggs were in one basket. You know, I thought before I was fighting, my entire life was dedicated to skateboarding. You know, I would skip school and go to Burnside Skate Park every day, skateboard all night. You know, and some of my friends, you know, who are still my friends to this day, they ended up going, you know, pro and semi-pro.
Yeah.
But never really making a good living at it. You know, they're phenomenal skateboarders. Now they're pushing 40 and still skateboarding around.
Yeah.
You know, but I got too big. I mean, honestly, for skateboarding, you know, I kept getting bigger, and those falls kept getting harder. You know.
Yeah, because you got to be kind of like a little bit thinner and like a little wiry for skateboarding, right?
I mean, I think so. And like I said, you know, as I grew, you know, it took me a while for my coordination to grow into my body. I think, you know, I was a little bit clumsy.
Now, Chris, in your fighting career, do you remember like either like your toughest fight or your toughest opponent? Anybody that comes to mind?
Well, you know, there's a lot of them, but the one that always comes to mind for me was before I was in the UFC. It was at a show up in Washington called the Battle in Seattle.
Okay.
And I fought a guy named Otto Olson. I don't know if you remember Otto Olson. Otto Olson was an All-American from Michigan State. I think he ended up losing to Josh Koscheck, actually.
Okay.
The NCAA finals. He also took second in Abu Dhabi. I think he lost to Marcelo Garcia way back in the day.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was undefeated. Went up to fight him. This was one of my last amateur fights, and he got me in his patented choke. And my friend has it on camera. You see me lift my hand to tap, and I go unconscious.
Oh, jeez.
Kind of falls. And the ref, though, Joe Durabio, is on the other side, so he doesn't see it. Otto then kind of readjusts to to sink the choke in because he thinks it's not working. I get a little burst of air, somehow get my head out, pop up. I'm like stumbling across the ring as he steps in to hit me, and I just slept him with my left.
Wow.
You know,
that's crazy. What is it, a guillotine choke, Chris?
He had me in a guillotine choke. He called it a Superman choke.
Okay.
But yeah, basically a guillotine.
Wow, that's crazy. So you caught him at the big left, huh?
Yeah, caught him with a big left. And I mean, we're talking about like, this had to be like 03, you know? So, I mean, even the names for some of the submissions were all. It was before Eddie Bravo had renamed everything. And
Right, yeah. Eddie got those wild names for stuff.
Yeah.
So, Chris, martial arts in general, what has it done for you personally, like as a human being outside of like fighting?
Everything. I mean, first and foremost, martial arts kept me alive. You know, I don't make any hiding about it that I've had some battles with alcohol and drugs. You know, you know, and if it wasn't for my desire to compete and my desire to compete well and have to sober up for those events in my 20s, I think I might have killed myself. You know, I think I might have died from that addiction. You know, so it did give me that. Also, you know, it's taught me, you know, obviously respect, honor, drive, work ethic. You know, and one thing that I think people forget about with martial arts is attention to detail. You know, I'm extremely detail orientated nowadays.
Yes.
Sometimes to a flaw. You know, it's like if somebody ties their shoes off center, it bothers me.
I kind of have OCD as well, Chris. That's so funny.
Like, you know, it's like my coach, Barrett Yoshida says, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
Spend a lifetime trying to perfect something. You know, that bleeds over into every aspect of your life, and I think it's made me, it's what's made me, I believe, a pretty good referee, and I also believe a solid instructor. You know, and you know, obviously all the adversity, you know, my battles with addiction and my battles in and out of the cage, you know, have brought me to a point now where, you know, I'm somebody that a lot of people reach out to, and, you know, I can provide them with, you know, a helping hand, you know, so whether they're dealing with drug addiction or just issues with life, it seems like, a lot of people call me because they're like, well, fuck, man, I know Leben's been through way worse. You know?
Yeah.
You feel like they can tell me, or, you know, or something, but, you know, I think all that came from martial arts. I mean, really, you know, most of the positive character traits that I have in one way or another came from martial arts, you know? Yeah. Because again, it's the majority of my life is, you know, it's what I love.
And it's crazy, Chris, because like, you know, they say everything happens for a reason, and there's always a positive you could take out from bad situations. And everything you went through to the point you're at now, where you have that experience, you can help other people. I think that's amazing. And I know you've been sober for a while now, and I'm genuinely really happy about that, because I am a fan of yours. So, you know, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Chris, so in your fighting career, do you have any regrets about anything, or are you at peace with everything you've done so far?
You know, regrets is such a hard, that's such a hard question if I have any regrets, because, you know, put it this way. Are there things that I would do differently now? Absolutely, yes. There's a lot of situations, there's a lot of stuff that I would handle in a different way than I did. But going back to kind of what you said, you know, we are a compound result of all of our past actions. You know, and I'm really happy with my life today, where I'm at. You know, you know, I wish I wouldn't have blew all the money I made from the UFC. I wish I would have saved some of it. But
yeah.
You know, again, you know, I have a wonderful family. I have a great job. I love being able to help people. I love being in a position where, you know, people reach out to me for help, and I get a coach, help them physically, mentally, you know. Yeah, so I don't think I would call it regrets, but definitely, yeah, I wouldn't do shit the same. You know, I wouldn't be out getting loaded the night before a big UFC fight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, they say hindsight's 20/20, man. So, So Chris, in your fighting career, what would you consider was your biggest win for you personally?
Oof, that's a tough one too. I mean, because you know how it goes, man. Every fight is the biggest fight of your life. You know, in my opinion. You know, and you're only as good as your last fight.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think obviously a lot of people would say, that Vanderlei Silva knockout.
Huge fight, yeah.
When I fought him, I had to beg for that fight. I beat Akiyama, who was slated to fight Vanderlei.
You caught him with the triangle, right?
Yep. Yeah. I ended up, and that was 14 days after I had knocked out Aaron Simpson. I triangled Akiyama.
Wow.
So at the time, I think those were the closest back-to-back fights in history. A couple guys got me beat by a day or two now, but that being said, for me, Vanderlei was something I had to ask for, lobby for. Dana didn't want to give it to me at first. And I think everybody, across the board thought I was going to lose in that fight, probably myself included. But it didn't matter to me because I wasn't fighting him to win. To win wasn't my goal. Vanderlei is who I emulated a lot of my style from. When I first started training, even before I was at Team Quest, there was an old Japanese toy store in Portland, Oregon, and this guy would rent me the bootleg Pride video.
Yeah.
Recorded off Sky Perfect TV in Japan. So I grew up watching that Vanderlei. Yeah. And so he was my hero. That's who I wanted to fight. And the fight was over quick. It worked out good, and it was pretty. Somewhere there's a video. My agent filmed it. Start of the fight from the bell all the way up into my hotel room afterward.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's a one-take video, and it's pretty epic to watch. From all my friends watching the fight start, the fight winning, to walking out of the ring, going straight up to the hotel. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was such a big win for you. I remember that also. Chris, real quick, I only have a couple more questions for you. You've been so gracious with your time. So a non-fighting question, Chris. This one's a little deep. So how has being a father changed you? Is there like a big mental shift, as they say?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I didn't have a dad growing up, so part of me sometimes questions, like I don't really have anything to base what being a father's supposed to be like. I don't have anything to base that off of. But all I know is the highlight of my day is every time I get to come home and see my kid and play. I would spend every minute of every day with him, if I could. And,
wow.
You realize that, mom and dad are this human being's whole world, and it's my job to give him a better opportunity than I had, and also I'm sure all parents think this, they think their kid's the smartest and the most handsome. But, but my kid really is. He's the smartest, most handsome, funniest kid on the planet. And I was just so blessed. I was really worried that he was going to have some of my learning disabilities. But he doesn't have any of those. He was blessed. With 10 fingers, 10 toes, great brain. He's athletic. So right now the sky's the limit for him, and it's
absolutely
so fun to watch him learn and grow. One second. Yes. Can you bring him in, please? You know, to watch him learn and grow and develop. It's like every day it's something new.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, he's the focal point of my life. You know, everything that I do indirectly is to benefit him. You know. You know, so there's that motivation there. You know, whether I'm about to start a fight, in the back of my head, I'm thinking about his Cheerios. You know?
Yeah.
When I'm going to work, I'm thinking about him. When I'm, you know, all the stuff that I do, that drive and that motivation, and you know, also, you know, kids don't keep you sober. You know, it's a lot of hard work that keeps you sober, but I put in the hard work because I know what I didn't have, you know, and what I want him to have. Yeah.
No, I understand that, Chris. I grew up pretty much without a father as well. I had a stepdad. He passed away when I was young. And I don't have any kids myself. I'm 39 right now. It's probably not going to happen for me, but you never know. I mean, but you're truly blessed. That's amazing. So, Chris, you're welcome. So are there any guys out there, Chris, that you actually enjoy watching compete? Any, you know, fan of anybody out there?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys that you know that I love to watch compete. You know, especially being a referee here in California. I get a chance to work a lot of the amateur shows, and I get to watch these guys go from amateur to pro, and then continue on, and just the way that the sport has changed and developed. You know, every year it seems like it's progressing even faster.
Absolutely.
So that being said, you know, like Wonder Boy Thompson, like his striking, his long outside fighting, you know, is phenomenal. Khabib, his ground and pound, the way that he does it, it's not new at all. That's old school Team Quest stuff, man. And he just does it. It's nothing fancy. He just does it freaking perfect, you know? And I mean, so for each top guy out there, there's something in particular that I watch, that I like from them. And I try to take that and then transmit that in my coaching, you know?
That's really smart, actually.
Lately, I've been watching, because I've been doing, you know, the bare-knuckle, so Chinko.
Oh, he's amazing. Amazing.
To watch, you know? I'm left-handed, so, you know, he's in that left lead.
Yep.
I think he's traditionally right-handed, but just his footwork is on a whole nother level.
Yes.
Than anybody ever. You know? So I sit there and just dissect his footwork, and then I'm blessed to have some really progressive striking coaches at my gym here, the arena. You know, so we're all on the same page. You know, and we go back and we break it down and we train it. You know, because if you're not growing and evolving, you know, you're dying.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Lomachenko is something special. I think he actually has like a dancing background or something that probably like helped his footwork. He's wild.
I think his dad pulled him from boxing and put him in dancing, and I think he started with gymnastics, which is actually I think Khabib too. You know, they in Russia, in communist Russia, they start all kids in gymnastics.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And then from there, they move them to whatever specific sport they think is kind of tailored for them. You know, so my son right now is doing gymnastics. You know, so he does gymnastics right now. We've already got they're not supposed to start jiu-jitsu till they're 3, but Solo's going to give me a waiver, let him get in early over at the University of Jiu-Jitsu here in San Diego. So
that's great.
That shortly.
Yeah, that's so cool. So Chris, last question for you. Thank you so much for your time. So when you do step away from all active competition, I know you're doing the bare knuckle, you know, thing right now. Do you have any like big plans? Maybe starting your own promotion, maybe the Crippler fight team, anything in mind?
Yeah, you know, I do. you know, I've always been pretty ambitious, you know, and that's something that hasn't changed. You know, I got some irons in the fire. I got some big goals, probably not ready to blurt them out to the world just yet, you know, but we got a few irons in the fire. One, I think that is pretty obvious is refereeing, and you know, I may fight one or two more times. We'll see. But really, you know, my career for the next 30 years, you know, my goal is to be reffing the UFC, reffing Bellator.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Traveling the world and refereeing fights, you know, and I look at that as such an honor. And, you know, I take the job very, very seriously. And I think that's something we need more of. You know, we use old fighters to do the commentary and everything else. I think something like refereeing, you should have an ex-high level fighter in
oh,
there
yeah.
to understand.
Yeah, absolutely agree, Chris, on the same page. Yeah, because you have an inside understanding of things going on, you know?
Right. And I mean, it's twofold in the way that it's not to say that if you never fought, you can't be a referee, but if you better have at least done jiu-jitsu. You got to understand all the positions. But I think one, it's those guys that deserve those jobs. It's those guys that people want to see in those jobs. And then two, it's certainly a benefit, you know, to have somebody that's been in a war and can look and know, hey, this guy wants out. I can tell he's done. He wants out. Versus, no, this guy's taking a beating, but he's still in this fight. You know, these are intuitive things that you have to be able to understand as a referee. Absolutely,
Chris. Yeah, it's great to see that. I really hope, you know, and it also with the judging, because you see some like wonky judging sometimes in MMA fights, and it's like, man, you got to get some guys with fight experience in there.
You know, well, I will say this. I think you know, MMA judging, not as bad as what I've seen in some boxing judging.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
I won't say any names. And from that point, I think California, definitely we have the highest standards as far as judges and referees go. You know, there's some other states where they're just kind of behind the curve. You know, and some of the judges are not proficient in the sport that they're judging. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's great if you judge boxing for 20 years, but if you haven't been involved in the sport of MMA for 20 years, well, you know, we're talking about apples and oranges here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. And it's sad because, you know, oh man, one fight can make or break somebody's career, you know, it could put them in an upward or downward trajectory. And then when it's like a bad decision, it's heartbreaking, you know?
You know, and here's what, and one of the rough things about our sport is, you know, let's say you go out and you fight a 3 or 5 round war, and you end up taking a split decision loss that most people disagree with. Yeah. 6 months down the road, the only thing everybody remembers is who won and who lost. Yes, you're right. Nobody goes back and goes, yeah, but you know what? I thought he won that fight, and you know. They don't think about that when they think about who you're going to fight next. Yeah. You know, and where your career is going. You know, you get 2 or 3 of those in a row, man, and it can be heartbreaking. Yeah, that's totally true. Romero was kind of going through the same thing because they were talking about him fighting Adesanya, and then people were saying, well, he lost to Costa and Whitaker. And, you know, the hardcores, they're like, hey, a lot of people think he won those fights. But like you said, on paper, he lost. Yep, that's it, you know, and, you know, those people will be all over the internet talking about how it's unfair and, you know, he lost those fights and, you know, it's just, it's crazy. You know, that's one of the things about our sport, though. You got to bet big to win big, you know, so you can, it can be a crushing or it can be the most amazing thing ever, you know, and, that's a lesson for life right there. How life works. Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, I mean, that's all I got, man. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's really been an honor to talk to you, and I wish you the best, you know, in your personal life and in your fighting career, man.
Cool. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great day, brother.